It doesn't matter who you are. You can be a hard-nosed business professional, a jumbo jet pilot, or even a humble recreational cyclist, and you're going to have days, even weeks, when you lack motivation. When it's bad, you'll want to do nothing more than lay on the sofa and watch 50-year-old repeats of On the Buses. Now, I'll be the first person to admit that I have times exactly like this, when I just can't be asked to get out on the bike. It frustrates the hell out of me. But what would you say if I were to tell you that the ride itself isn't really the problem? Imagine yourself there on the sofa. It's raining and you've just made yet another cup of tea. The last thing you want to do is change into your cycling kit, get the bike out, ride in the wet for an hour, and then spend 15 minutes cleaning it when you get back. Well, you are only human. But now let's imagine the same situation, the rain, the sofa and the tea, but this time someone has offered you £1,000 to do that ride. I'd be out of that door like a shot. Whenever you find yourself saying things like, "I've lost my cycling mojo," or "I lack the motivation to get out on the bike today," what you might actually be saying is that you aren't looking forward to something associated with the ride and then overthinking it. These can be roughly summarized like this. Perception, for example, thinking that the ride is going to be harder or less fun than you imagine. Expectation, for example, it's going to be cold or it will take too long. Lack of focus, I don't know where I'm going to ride today or how hard or how fast to ride. Lack of reward, what's the point? I'm not getting any fitter or I'm not losing any weight. And of course, it could just boil down to good old-fashioned procrastination. I'll do it later. I'm sure you've heard it dozens of times. The hardest part of any ride is getting out of the front door. More often than not, once your arse has actually connected with the saddle and the wheels are rolling, all is right with the world and you actually end up enjoying yourself. So how can you overcome all of these pain points? The first and obvious thing I would suggest is not to overthink it. Simply stop listening to the negative little voices in your head that are listing all of the reasons why you shouldn't ride today. I appreciate that this is far easier said than done, but mental momentum, basically carrying on regardless, can take you a long way. All it really needs to do is to get you out of the front door and sat on the bike. I'm sure you can take it from there. Conversely, do listen to all of those negative little voices, but have a clever answer for them. So for example, if they're saying that it's an effort to sort out your cycling kit and put it on, have it already laid out and waiting for you so that it's as easy as possible to change into. Perception and expectation, I'll admit, are slightly tricky ones because you're worrying about something that may not be correct. It can help to remember that you are the one in control of your ride. If worse comes to worse and your fears are proved right, you can always stop. Nowhere does it say that you have to push on through that bad weather or try to keep up with the fast group. Making a few small changes mid-ride, such as using a different route or riding a bit slower, can sometimes make all the difference. Lack of focus and reward can be slightly easier to overcome. Sitting down and planning things such as when to go out cycling, choosing your route and what you want to achieve from your ride can help with the former, and remembering the why of your ride can help with the latter. Identifying your most productive times can be a great help when scheduling your rides. For example, if you're a morning person, it makes sense to plan all of your rides before noon. If you do need to sit down and plan things, don't just limit yourself to the ride. It can also help to plan out your off the bike times as well. Knowing and locating times when you definitely can't or just don't want to ride can help you look forward to the times you can. Now, we all ride for many different reasons. For me personally, it's for fun and fitness. And when I can't really see the results on the fitness side of things, I try to tell myself that it's a bit of a long game. And as long as I keep on chipping away at it, I should be able to become at least as fit as I was last season. The point here is that I'm trying to use the logical, rational side of my brain to tell the emotional, irrational side that it will all be fine. It can also be very easy to be overwhelmed or lost in the bigger picture. If you watch my Tuesday training vlogs, you'll know that I have a big cycling event planned for later in the year. If I focused on that and that alone, I probably would never get fit for it because it just sounds far too hard and unachievable. This is why I've broken my training down into smaller milestone goals. Firstly, it takes my mind off the rides that for now would appear rather intimidating. And secondly, it allows me to break my training down into smaller, manageable sections. This way, I can focus on the individual aspects of my fitness that I need to work on in turn, rather than worrying about the bigger picture of being a complete sack of custard right now. When we say things like, "I'll do it later," more often than not, what we really mean is that we're waiting for something in us to change so that we'll feel better about doing that thing. What we're most likely to do in this situation is find lots of distractions, such as endlessly checking emails and our social media feeds, to prevent us from stepping up and just doing it. Taking those distractions away can help to a certain extent, but the big problem with feelings is that they rarely change all by themselves. Sometimes the difference can be something simple like the sun shining or time running out, but equally it could be something that you've actively done to change them, such as listening to some motivational music. Eye of the Tiger. For us as cyclists, motivation isn't really the goal. It's actually the place we start, essentially the thing that helps us overcome the obstacles that prevent us from getting ourselves out the front door and on the bike. That's the real goal. Thanks for watching.